animatronics.
Okay, so this is a video about how the Greyz and the Reptilians are making me into a cyborg. It was in 2013 where the Greyz actually told me under a virtual reality experience that they were pulling me out, my astral body out, and making it into a cyborg and then sticking it back into my physical body. He basically told me that, he was doing that to a lot of people. He said it like this. He said, we're taking spirit bodies, spirit ethereal bodies, and making them into a cyborg and then sticking them back into physical bodies. And he created this virtual reality experience for me. It's like I was in this big dome or UFO ship or something. I don't know if it was a UFO or if it was just a big, huge dome. It was like a dome building. But anyway, so basically that virtual reality experience, he made a young guy, he was just walking along like la 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 la, and he was controlling these balls with his mind over his left shoulder and his right shoulder, about 6 inches above his shoulder, kind of a few inches ahead of him, and he was just controlling them with his mind. And then there was an older guy, like a 60-year-old guy, several seconds later, started walking along, and he started like looking out, started waving his head like out, ahead of him, like way out in the vicinity of the dome, and he was just trying to tell me that, see, I can still control things with my mind, like out there too, like over here or over there. He was trying to give me that impression. And that was a virtual reality experience that this Grey gave me, and that's when he told me this information that he was turning me and other people into a cyborg. Well, it was, but of course, who really knows what is meant by that. So it was a year ago when I figured it out that a lot of things that they're doing with my spirit body, they're actually creating my virtual reality experiences with it, and my very, very lucid dreams that have a lot of virtual reality elements in it. But also the lucid dreams, there's sort of a difference between a lucid dream virtual reality and virtual reality. I know the difference. It feels just a tad bit different. Like when they give you a virtual reality under a lucid dream, it just feels a little more dreamlike than an actual virtual reality in the dream state, in the altered state. But yeah, there's a little bit of a difference. Like sometimes they're virtual reality, and other times it's more like in a lucid dream state. But lots of times there are total virtual reality little elements in that VRS lucid dream state. Yeah, so anyway, it was a year ago that I started talking to the Reptilians, and I wanted them to confirm that. That's what they were doing. I don't know how I figured it out. I just somehow figured it out that that's what they were doing. That's how they are creating these awesome virtual reality, lucid dreams and experiences for me by them pulling my astral body out while I'm totally awake. And then they tamper with it, and many hours later, they stick me in this virtual reality. And I guess that's how it makes it so realistic, which is totally awesome. I can go into more details later about all of my little, like, the total details of all those experiences. But, so anyway, basically, a year ago, I asked them to confirm that that's what they were doing. And I told them, well, can't you give me an experience early in the night instead of, in the morning? so what they did was they pulled me out on the couch at 6 p.m. and I was they do it when I'm totally awake. Like, they could probably do it when you're asleep too, but most of the time, right when I lay down, they pull me out. And it totally feels like you're going out of body, but your consciousness stays in your physical body, and it feels like your legs are like going up and down, swimming in water. It feels like your whole body kind of becomes weightless and your feet become weightless. It's really cool. So anyway, they confirmed it by taking me out at 6 p.m. because I told them I wanted an experience early instead of, later in the morning. So they gave me one. I went to bed about 10 o'clock and they gave me this whole scenario about Ferguson, Missouri, this virtual reality experience scenario. And then they abruptly woke me up at 12:30. And I know they did it on purpose. They did it on purpose because they were wanting to tell me, see, you're right, you figured it out, and that's what we're doing, and we just gave you another one, and that's why we jarred you awake, so you would know that that's what we're doing. And it's the Greyz and the Reptilians that are doing it mostly, and there may be some other species too that are doing it. I mean, I really don't know. But I know it's the Greyz and Reptilians that are creating all of my dreams, virtual reality dreams, lucid dreams, everything. And they've been doing it. Get down, Bobby. And they've been doing it all my life. And also, okay, so in 2013, they told me they were making me into a cyborg. And then, it was a year ago, that's when I figured it out that, they were taking my astral bodies, and that's how they keep making all these awesome dreams for me, and virtual reality experiences. Well, and then, it was the 4 months ago, well actually probably about five months by now, about 5 months ago, that's when a female ET spoke in my left ear. And she sounded totally human. But I know she wasn't human. I know she was some kind of an ET. And that's when she spoke to me in my left ear early in the morning when I was in that halfway sleep state and halfway awake state. And that's when she beeped in on my left ethereal implant. And that's when she basically told me that we've been doing this all your life. And she said that when I give you an experience, I'm going to ring the landline phone 3 times. And then she gave me a virtual reality experience that I was out in my driveway in the blaring sun, which I can't really be in the sun because it makes me real dizzy and I'm allergic to the sun, basically. Yeah, and she put me out in my driveway like at noontime, and this was total virtual reality, and I didn't even know I was in a virtual reality state. Sometimes I do know, sometimes I don't know. And I was trying to, they know I've been wanting to try to get this little stain off my driveway, but when the winter came, it got off anyway. It disappeared. And so she gave me that virtual reality experience that I was in the driveway, and it was sunny, and I remember thinking, wow, why am I sitting here, in the sun? I can't really handle the sun. And I didn't really know I was under virtual reality until, she rang the phone. After that experience, she rang the landline phone. Ring, ring, ring. And I still thought it was real. I mean, I thought I was actually, really outside on my driveway. And when the landline phone rang, I thought it was real as well until I totally, woke up back in 3D. And I was just like, wow. Okay, so those 3 things. So basically, that's sort of, what they mean by cyborg type of things. And yeah, they're definitely doing all sorts of shit in my brain, man. I even see, sometimes I'll even see, when they're about to hack in, I'll see the computer screen in my consciousness, like a total computer screen with like squiggly lines, like when they're about to hack in and create whatever they want to program or create for me. Yeah, it's really weird. And not only that, but it's probably been over 2 years now. Over 2 years ago, I happened to be sleeping in my my third bedroom, and this guy at work, he gave me a little disc, what do you call it? A flash drive with the movie Cowboys and Aliens on it, and I've never even seen the movie. And they freaking put like 30 minutes of that movie in my brain. And it played out in a virtual reality experience in my, when I went to bed that night. It was like a Saturday night. And when I woke up, I was like, that almost seemed like that could be that movie, the Cowboys and Aliens, and I've never even seen the movie. I was going to try to play it when he gave me the flash drive, but I couldn't figure out how to play it. So I never played it, I never watched it, and then I actually finally, I think I rented it on Amazon, and I didn't even watch the whole thing because it was so damn stupid. And it didn't take me long to watch it and to realize that they put some of that movie in my brain. It was so weird because I swear to God I've never even seen the movie. And like I say, after the experience I tried to watch a little bit of it, but it was so stupid I didn't watch the whole movie. And there was all that fighting, and that's the whole part that they put, like 30 minutes of that fighting and stuff, that's the whole part that they put in my brain to play out in a virtual reality, in my lucid dream state. Lucid astral dream state. Yeah, and so anyway, those three things, I finally figured out, after they told me they were making me into the cyborg. Then I realized they were mainly creating my dreams from the astral bodies, and my virtual reality experiences. And then thirdly, it was an ET that came forward to tell me that they've been doing this all my life, which I know I would have figured that out on my own. I know I would have. I just know it. And so anyway, I'm trying to think of some other experiences real quick. I could tell you about what I had this morning. And not only this morning, but also something kind of similar. It's probably been a few months ago, where this is what they did. A few months ago, they gave me a virtual reality dream where I was at my mom's house in the front yard, and this is what they did. In my virtual reality experience, in the lucid astral dream state, they're starting to put, it's really weird, but they're starting to put like computer generated imagery, almost like computer animation. Like if you like bring up Miss Pac-Man on YouTube or whatever, they're starting to put that shit in my virtual reality experiences. It's really neat. It's really weird. Yeah, and so this is what they did this morning. Or actually, the 3 or 4 months ago, when they placed me at my mom's front yard at the right part of the driveway, and I was standing there in the driveway, and I looked out towards the front of the yard where the fence was, and there was all these aqua blue UFOs just kind of going up and down, up and down. But they were like aqua blue, and it was like computer generated imagery. It was like computer animation. I can tell you exactly what it was like. It was like cartoon type of stuff. This is what it was like. See that blue right there? All the UFOs were like going up and down, like from the ground. They were all going up, like up and down from the ground, but it was like computer animation, just like what you see here. See the little blue ghosts? And, so anyway, they did that, and then I got another one of those experiences this morning. Okay, let me bring this back up. I finally got a better camera. Okay, yeah, so, okay, so this morning, I guess I could go into all the details. Okay, I'll try to make it fast. Now I gotta, rack my brain and remember it. Okay, so this time, okay, I remember now. It was all these little haphazard scenes that they put in my virtual reality dreams this morning. They were kind of haphazard. I've had a lot better ones than these. But these were kind of little haphazard little scenes that they put in my virtual reality. Okay, and it already came back to me. Okay, so anyway, this is what they did this morning. They placed me kind of like in my, I guess it was my neighborhood, but it felt a little different. They placed me in a neighborhood, but it was kind of a strange neighborhood. And I was outside. They placed me in a neighborhood. I looked up in the sky, and it was all these triangle UFOs. And they were like, bam, bam, bam. They were shooting each other down. I mean, and it was like, it was dramatic. You know, it was very cool, very realistic. They were shooting each other down and exploding and stuff. And you could sort of hear the noises and stuff as they exploded. And it was like several, and they were aqua bluish. And they were shooting each other. All these triangle UFOs were battling it out and shooting each other. And I've never even played any kind of games like that or anything ever. But it was computer generated imagery or computer animation, just like what I showed you. Those little, like in the arcade game, like Miss Pac-Man, the little blue, you know, it was like computer generated imagery. It was so weird. And, yeah, and so they were shooting each other. The UFOs were shooting all these other UFOs. It was really cool. Well, then they stick me in an auditorium like as if I'm about to watch a live play or something, which, you know, recently I have been going to a lot of ballets, ballets. I went to like 3 or 4 in the past couple years or whatever. And then this annoying guy, he was like Middle Eastern and dark complected. And he was kind of heavy set as far as I remember. And of course I just saw a guy like that at the bookstore last night. And anyway, so in the virtual reality experience, the reptilians, I believe it was probably the reptilians that created this for me. And that they had this guy, he was trying to hit on me. He was trying to like sell me shit like, you want to buy this, want to buy that? And I'm thinking, no, I just want to get ready to watch the play or whatever. Okay, so then another part of the dream, or actually virtual reality experience, another part of the virtual reality experience, we ended up in a room and he was still trying to bug me. And I remember throwing a bowl at him, a bowl. And I made it catch on fire. It's like I made it catch on fire with my mind or something. Because I didn't like him and I felt like he was trying to hit on me. And the funny thing is, recently, this weird guy in a freaking wheelchair he was married and everything, but he kind of, you know, was trying to hit on me at the gym. And I'm thinking, you know, I have no interest in you. And so, see, all this shit they like to put, all this shit from your real reality, these bits and pieces and from 3D, they like to put in all your virtual reality experiences. And so anyway, so then it went on into, okay, after that part, after the bowl caught fire, then it went on into another little scene where, you know, where my boss and, you know, him and his girlfriend or whatever, or wife, came walking by. We were outside then, I'm not sure where, but outside kind of under an enclosure, a building, but it was open. We were still sort of outside. And he came walking by and was super friendly and was like, how's it going, kid? And, yeah, I remember what he said and everything. He's like, and he touched me on the shoulder. He's like, how's it going, kid? And then he just walked on by, and that was my boss, you know, in real life. And then, let's see, there was one more scene. I gotta remember it. Shit, man, I'm trying to remember it. Okay, after that, let's see. Okay, he came walking by. Okay, it was the UFOs. Oh, yeah. Okay, and this was the last scene. And then, like I'm saying, normally my virtual reality experiences, they're not all these little haphazard little bam, 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 bam. But for whatever reason, they decided to make it all haphazard. And so then, lastly, the last scene was they placed me. There again, I was kind of like outside with my sister. It was kind of like I was in Mexico, and we were still outdoors, but it just seemed like there was still some kind of roof over us, but it was open. You know, it didn't have any walls or anything. And then I was like standing in a corner, and my sister was right there, and there was all these like little bitty keychains and all this big old wad of like Mexican money, and I had this big old wad of money in my hand and keychains, and I remember thinking, I don't know if I can shove all this keychains and money, you know, in my pocket. It was bills. I mean, it was totally foreign Mexican bills. And I remember thinking, I don't even know if I want it because I don't even know how to, you know, read it or exchange it for the, you know, American money or whatever. Okay, and then, well, that was basically the end of that. But so far, it was those two virtual reality experiences that they're starting to put the computer-generated imagery. Now, there was another virtual reality experience that I had, and this was about 2.5 years ago, when I know it was a reptilian. A reptilian had taken me out of body and basically put me in a real life game, like an Xbox game. It was a game that I totally, you know, never played before or anything, but it was totally like he placed me inside of a game. And I was like 12 feet above the ground, and it was all aqua blue. They like the color blue, like aqua. It was all aqua blue. I mean, the whole entire setting. And I was just floating above the ground really slowly. And I was in this, it was almost like I was in water or something, but I wasn't in water. The whole scene was aqua blue. And he, basically the reptilian was trying to tell me how to play the game. He was trying to tell me how to play the game, and he had a pugil stick in his hand, and there were all these weird creature monsters like over to my right, like many, many feet to my right, and they were going the opposite direction of me, and I had to like, you know, hit him with my pugil stick. I had to beat on them. And what's the right word to use? Well, anyway, he was trying to tell me how to play the game. It was total virtual reality. I mean, it was so fun. I was just floating there 12 feet above the ground in this blue virtual reality scene, like I was just floating in water. I mean, the whole scene was aqua blue, the whole scene. Like total, it was computer generated imagery type of stuff again. And whack, that was the word I was using for, whack. He was telling me how to play the game, and he was telling me that you had to whack all these creatures going by me in the opposite direction. And they were going by slowly too. And there was like a horse and a buggy. There were these creature monsters going by me. And I saw the first bam, the first, you know, creature being whacked. But the reptilian actually whacked the creature, not me. But he was trying to tell me how to play the game, and he did the first whack, like bam. And then that was the end of that. So that was like 3 virtual reality experiences so far that they've been putting the computer generated imagery stuff in. Yeah, it's really interesting. But yeah, so I can maybe tell you about another one. Let's see here. So yeah, so basically that's what they're doing. Like these, sometimes I actually have abductions. I still have a lot of abductions where they pull me out and plop me in a total scenario, a total, physical scenario in another dimension or whatever that they put me in. They pull me out right at that semi-sleep state and semi-awake state, right at the, the point of falling asleep. They have to yank you out the couple split seconds before you fall asleep. Like, boom, they have to grab you. And they pull me out in many different ways. Like, sometimes they'll just, like, come flying down and just, whoosh, like, pull me out really fast at the top of my head. And then they'll just, bam, like, place me in the virtual reality experience. Or, whatever scenario that they create for me. And sometimes they'll sit or lean at the foot of the bed, and they'll pull me out like that. Joe likes to pull me out like that with his hands, really slowly. And they can nudge you out. They can take you out in a lot of different ways. And sometimes, I think they can still create all these awesome virtual reality dreams. Even when you're still sleeping, they can still take your whole astral body out or your energetic body out, and they can do stuff with that. But yeah, so basically when they take you while you're completely awake, when they take me while I'm completely awake, they sit there and tamper with my astral body, and I don't even know what they're doing with it until many hours later, till when they decide to use it for my dreams, my really, really lucid dreams and virtual reality experiences. So in a way, that's kind of a ass-backwards abduction. It's an abduction, but ass-backwards. Oh, I'll tell you, let's see, another recent, I guess I could tell you about the two really quick recent abductions that I had. But these weren't very fun, really. I've had a lot of other fun ones from a year ago and 5 months ago that I'll talk about later. Those were totally fun. But these were very, very, very quick. Yeah, these abductions were very, very, very quick. And they were a little different. Where they didn't take me right at that split second before falling asleep. They took me at different brainwave states. Yeah, so I had one abduction just about 3 weeks ago. And I do believe it was the Reptilians again. I was laying on my left side on the bed. Or in the bed, I mean. I was laying on my left side, and they pulled me through the walls of my house. And I remember separating from my physical body, and I was like, oh man, I was afraid to go out of my body. I was afraid because I was alert that I was going out of body, and so I was kind of afraid, and so I sort of tried to fight it, but I couldn't. And so I remember floating through the walls, and there was this this really, really thin white string, super white string, all the way up to this UFO ship. Once I got outside, I looked up, and there was this white, thin string, all the way up to the UFO ship, which was completely flat and gray. The bottom of the UFO ship was totally gray, and it was kind of an odd shape, and it was completely flat. And they kept pulling me up, and I was going up and up and up, and I was like, shit, man, I'm afraid of heights. I mean, I really was afraid of, heights. Even in that abduction, I was afraid of heights. And finally, I got in the UFO ship. Well, if it really was a UFO ship, I don't know. I got to the UFO ship, and the next thing I remember is they were presenting me with this dildo-looking thing. It was white and kind of... Well, the reptilians, they're perverts. And, yeah, and there wasn't much else, unless they blocked it from my memory, there wasn't anything else after that. But that was just really, really quick. Abduction. And then... But those aren't the normal type of abductions that I normally get. I'll talk about those later. And, the other one was just about a couple months ago, where I was talking to my friend this friend that I don't see very much because she lives in a different state. And lo and behold, it was like a Friday. It was a Friday morning. And I was talking to them, you know, for abductions and stuff, but I wasn't telling them like what I wanted or anything. Well, lo and behold, this reptilian came to my room and really fast pulled me out of body. But I was still awake. I was really alert and I was still awake. And I remember hearing that gush of sound like whoosh. And I remember doing a backflip. My astral body, as he like wham, like yanked me out, I remember doing a backflip. And I remember thinking, oh shit, why is my consciousness still in my physical body? Well, lo and behold, after I finally fell asleep, he put me in a virtual reality experience with this friend. And we were I was at her house, and we were sitting on the floor by the kitchen, and we were passionately making out, necking and kissing and fondling. And I was like completely naked. I remember like getting up and her friends were like knocking on the door, and I remember thinking, I wonder if I'm going to be, you know, embarrassed or whatever. But yeah, I mean, they'll like just bam, pull you out whenever they want and create these awesome virtual reality experiences for you. For me, basically.